Hi, I'm Quentin Conway and this is my wife Lori, and we'd like to take a few minutes just to tell you a little bit about our story and how we got started with It Works Global. It's been about 3.5 years ago since our story began, and it starts with Lori going to a crazy wrap party.
I did. I was invited from a dear friend of mine to a wrap party, and you know what? I walked into that wrap party, tried a wrap on for the very first time, and I fell in love. And before I even took that wrap off, I knew I wanted to be part of this organization, part of this business opportunity. You know, at that party, I just signed up on a whim, $99, and I thought, for $99, I'm gonna make this decision. Normally, I would go home and I would consult my husband because he was the breadwinner of the family and he worked and I stayed home with the kiddos, but I knew that $99, it definitely would be paid right back because I could sell the wraps out of my kit and make all the money back.
And she knew what I would say. If she would have came home and asked me to join this business, I would have been like, no way on earth. And I remember she comes barging through the door that night. She has this wrap on her belly. And she's like, hey, look at this. And I'm going to sell it too. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like we live such a busy life already. We've got 4 kiddos and I worked 60 hours a week. And I'm like, we lived an okay life. You know, I thought I provided okay. And we just didn't have time for anything. So I was that guy that, it's not that I wasn't supportive. We just didn't have time for that. We just totally didn't have time for that. And so, you know, what did she do? She shut her mouth and she went to work and proved me wrong.
I did. I remember that night. He went right upstairs, went to bed, and I thought, you know what? I'm committed. I signed up for $99 and I got to make this work. And so what I got 4 wraps to sell. And so I got on social media right away and I told people what I had my hands on. And I went to bed. I closed the computer screen and went to bed that night. And I woke up to a slew of messages of people that were interested. And I was so excited. I could have let that defeat me that night, gone home and had him not be excited. But I knew that if I would have gotten in, I could have got my money back and I could have shown him that we could do this.
So like a typical guy, it wasn't until a little bit later, we went out to eat one night, and it was at the Olive Garden, actually. I remember it very vividly. So we're having dinner. It was a date night, and Bill comes, and what normally happens is the bill comes, and who do they hand it to? The guy, right? Well, she yanks that thing out of my hand, digs down into her purse, and starts pulling out a wad of $20 bills.
Yes.
I remember wow. Like, what have you been doing? What are you totally doing?
And what I say, I've been wrapping people. And that's what literally I did. I hoarded all my cash. So I got into this business for that nail money, and I started to make more than just that nail money. And so I started to get date money, and I started to provide babysitting income to our family. So that way my husband and I could go on a date every once in a while and not come out of our pocketbook, out of our family funds.
So it didn't take long before I realized, and when I say it didn't take long, it was a good 6 months before I said, you know what? I have got to get involved with this and I've got to start helping her. And about 6 months later, I joined in and we started working the business together. And within 6 months of that, what happened?
6 months of that, just kind of going back to the day he joined, or that moment anyway. Yeah. I can remember you walking over piles of laundry because I did stay home with 4 kids and our house was very lived in. And I can remember him walking over those piles of laundry to go to work. And I looked at him and said, I'm going to retire you. I'm going to retire you.
Cray. Yeah.
I'm going to retire you into this business to work this full time with me. And I can remember you looking at me and saying, this right here is not retirement. I'm headed to work. That's more like a vacation. But at that moment in time, he didn't quite get it. And so what I did is I got to work and I showed him, I painted that portrait, that vision for him. And he joined on. We joined forces doing this together. And then 6 months prior to that, or after that,
she brought me home.
I brought him home.
Yeah, she brought me home. So we've been working this business together since August of 2012. And so here we are. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. August of 2012. So fast forward, our lives are completely different. They've completely changed in so many ways. It's very difficult for me to verbalize that to you in a way that will be real. But, as a guy in this business, as a guy who has been proven wrong so many times about what this business is, I want to encourage anyone that's watching today to know this, that sometimes you just got to take chances. And as guys, we're taught that, we get an education or we get a trade and we go out and we grind it out and we work and we provide for our family. It's that hunter-gatherer mentality. I mean, that's what we're taught to do. And It Works Global really opened my eyes to something totally different and totally big. And I would never have seen that, would never have considered that if it weren't for my wife. And so I'm so grateful that we're here today. But what we want to tell you is that, sometimes it starts out rough where not everyone's on board, or sometimes people are on board, but our dreams start small. Like you got in this business for a couple $100 nail money to get your hair and nail, right?
I dreamed along the way. And so my why got bigger, my dreams got bigger. And I realized that this was not only a business for me, but a family business, one that I could do with my family, with my husband, and create and own our own time.
So as we sit here today, we want to encourage you and let you know that you can drastically change your life with this silly wrap thing. We are a family business. We love what we do. And most importantly, what we're doing is we're teaching our kids that you really can live the American dream. Like if you believe it, you can achieve it. And I never thought that before until It Works Global.